Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hello again. Today we're going to be covering some training which local councils are apparently pushing out. And by training, I do of course mean rigorous indoctrination that would make someone like Dr. Mengele blush. This is basically the modern equivalent of that scene in A Clockwork Orange when Alex gets subjected to the Ludovico technique. And you knew it was coming. It's exactly what we'd expect from the overbearing, authoritarian school marms that now run the Western world, and especially in the UK. And as I said, it is like a dystopian nightmare, but a strange mixture of Orwell and Huxley, because it comes across as nicey-nicey, which is why it's a hybrid of the two. They are stomping on your throat with iron-shod boots and watching you all the time, and listening to everything you say, but they sprinkle it with glitter, and it's presented in a nicey way like this, not by a stern man in a black leather uniform, but a nice little cartoon. So banning thinking for yourself will come across as pleasant, and surely no reasonable person would disagree with them. Now, Lewis Brackpool and a few other commentators on Twitter talked about it. It's Hampshire Council allegedly who's showing this to new recruits, but they obviously covered it in a serious and mature manner. So I'll blow it up and I'll play it and I'll cover it in the crass, mocking, sarcastic way that you've all become accustomed to. So let's get started, shall we?
This is Mr. J, a young man of 17. He lives with his parents in the county of Hogshire. He is known to his local nature reserve staff, as he often uses the bird hides and public viewing areas there.
Yeah, he sounds like a monster, doesn't he? Likes to go for a walk and bird watches. Yeah, put him on the list. There's also a bloke here that stands outside the nightclubs giving leaflets out, calling all the women slags, and telling the people that it's a Sharia-controlled area and drinking alcohol and fornicating should be punishable by burying them up to the necks in sand and caving the heads in with bricks. What about him? He's all right. Thought so.
He is quiet and withdrawn and very rarely speaks to staff, but is polite when he does so.
He sounds like an arsehole, doesn't he? What a prick. He's quiet and polite. Can't have that. What he should do is dye his hair purple, fire a coach bolt through his tongue, and constantly accost perfect strangers all the time, berating them about political activism and, taking the kids to Spain or something, because it's bad for the world. That's what he should be doing, behaving like a good boy.
He is known to attend the local college and has taken part in organised activities at the nature reserve.
Did you notice that, by the way? Did you see that? In the cartoons now, they've even snuck a fat lass in. Haven't they? Like someone's looked at a panel and went, hang on, there's 6 people here. At least 2 of them have to be from ethnic minorities, and put a heffalump in there as well. Yeah? We've got to normalise having legs like upside down kebabs. Right? We've got to make it so kids always see fatties and think it's a good idea to start every day with a couple of sticks of butter. Because if you don't do that, you're not being responsible. You're setting them up for failure. So there's an interesting side note. Like the director's there going, hang on. There's not enough fat people in these cartoons. Isn't that sort of bigoted if you're that obsessed with it? Like I just used to watch cartoons. They watch them and go, yeah, hang on. I want a Chinaman. I want a leather in a wheelchair. I want a roller leather and put a couple of fatties in there. Yeah, do it. There's kids watching this for Pete's sake.
And has taken part in organised activities at the nature reserve as part of his college course.
Classroom looks like Karachi, obviously.
Nature reserve staff become concerned after noticing the contents of some leaflets which have been left in the viewing hides on the reserve. These contain anti-immigration views and argue that British tradition and identity is under threat from multiculturalism and that Islam is fundamentally opposed to British values.
He's a good lad, really. This is the thing. That's just your opinion. If it's acceptable to put leaflets out about body shaming and environmentalism, and Mother Gaia needs to be given a rest, so you can't go on holiday to Spain once a year, but John Kerry can go on a private jet 200 times in a month, If that's acceptable, then surely the opposite side of the argument's acceptable. No? Or is that old-fashioned to me? To think that having opinions is wrong somehow. As I've said, if you want to live in a grey, commie world where everything's identical all the time and nobody's allowed to disagree, well then ban all of it. Ban all of it. You're not allowed to put leaflets out. You're not allowed to discuss anything. You're not allowed to disagree with the powers that be. But if you don't ban all of it, then you can't ban some of it, can you? If it's all right for Keir Starmer's soy-based socialist party to put bloody leaflets through my letterbox when I'm trying to watch Countdown, right, then it's acceptable for this bloke to put some leaflets out there, isn't it? The content of the leaflets is completely irrelevant. If you are a liberal, you think it's acceptable to put leaflets out. Surely, this is how you slip into the abyss. When they thought that the sun went around the earth, and people like Copernicus disagreed with them. If you just banned talking about it, we'd have never got to where we are, would we? You have to protect the right to have different opinions. What type of world do you want to live in? Seriously. Ban them all or ban none of them. That's how it works. Or that's how it did work when the world made sense.
Staff also find stickers on litter bins in the reserve. These contain similar slogans and statements to the leaflets.
Yeah, well, you know what? That reminds me, the last time I was in Scotland, probably about 10 years ago, there was stickers all over the place. All over the bins and the traffic signs. I've seen loads of them. Emblazoned with a saltire saying Scottish, not British. Is that acceptable? Because there's a few thousand people need arresting if it isn't, right? Enforce the law equally. Otherwise, the law's worthless. Go on, start a list. Start rounding them up.
A review of CCTV cameras shows that it is Mr. J who has placed the stickers and leaflets in the reserve.
So it's brilliant, isn't it? They're just doing exactly what I told you they were going to do. You put a leaflet out with a political opinion on it, and then they use their warped technology to find out who dares leave leaflets with wrong opinions on them. And then they go around your house. What a wonderful world we've created. Wrong think, robot camera, knock on the door. Is that not Orwellian? People throw the term around a lot these days, but that's definitely what it is, surely.
When questioned, he admits his actions.
When questioned, he admits his actions. But he's defensive and uncooperative. Yeah, he's defensive, knobhead, because he's minding his own business, having a cup of tea in his front room, and then three arseholes in uniforms knock on his door and tell him, "We have checked the cameras and you have the wrong opinions." I'd be defensive. I wouldn't answer the door. You'd have to drag me out of the house. Bodily, like I was Charles Bronson refusing to come out of his cell. I'd be like a limpet on my kitchen table. In fact, no, I wouldn't be in my house. I'd be buried in the back garden like Saddam Hussein in his lair. And you'd need a team of special forces soldiers to get me out of there. Just out of principle. I just want to make their lives harder for them. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
But is defensive and uncooperative. Staff at the nature reserve are concerned with the content of what Mr. J is distributing.
But they're all right with vile pornography being aimed at children. Yeah, these look at the face on them there. They're like, "Oh, we can't be having this." You are a primary school teacher and you just showed a load of 9-year-old kids a peculiar German magazine named Bizarre Dwarves with what appeared to be Tyrion Lannister on the front cover dressed in a gimp suit. So I don't think you should be telling anyone what alarming content looks like. Should you? Anyway, discuss the re-education programme, please. We're all ears.
And believe he may be vulnerable and or susceptible to being radicalised. They make a prevent referral and they include images of the stickers and leaflets.
There's the Stasi pushing the envelope across the desk to the Minister of Truth. Brilliant, love that.
Once assessed, it is decided that channel support is appropriate. A counter-terrorism case police officer is assigned and visits the family along with a social worker from Children's Services.
Look at him having a cup of tea. You've just invited the Stasi in and you made him a cup of tea. What you thinking? Any reasonable parent opens the door, gets told that little story by a member of the state police. Oh yeah, it hasn't even been a week. You've seen the calendar, it hasn't even been a week. We've been monitoring your son. We use robot cameras to find out who he was and where you live. And we've come round to talk to him about having the wrong opinions. Yeah, the literal definition of a thought crime. 2 sugars please, mate. No. How about, officer, You suck my stump and get off my property before I unleash the hounds. How does that grab you? That's how that conversation would go if they were trying to have a chat with anyone I'm related to. But alas, the angry Bootneck isn't of the same opinion of the vast majority of the United Kingdom's people. And that's why we're in deep shit, isn't it?
Mr. J admits that he has been spending more and more time online looking at discussion forums. He explains that at first he just discussed history and fantasy computer games with other users, but he was then encouraged to visit other sites which shared anti-immigration, anti-Islam and anti-Semitic and far-right views and conspiracy theories.
And remember, everything's a conspiracy theory if the government disagrees with it. And if a few years later it gets proved to be 100% correct, you could be talking about big issues or small ones. The amount of times in the last couple of years that mis and disinformation has proved to be 100% accurate 18 months later, it's, I don't know the scientific definition, we'll just use the term metric shit ton. So that's the conspiracy theories, yeah. We're all conspiracy theorists now, aren't we? In the good old days, it was Elvis is still alive and the moon landings aren't real. Now conspiracy theories are when the government drops off 300,000 votes in bin liners at 4 o'clock in the morning and 99% of them are for one candidate in a very, very hotly contested election. That's totally normal, and if you think it's not normal, you should go to jail. Logical.
He says that he's been feeling very lonely, depressed and directionless at college, but he feels like he has friends and a shared purpose amongst some of the users on these forums.
He feels directionless and friendless at college because 7 out of 10 of them can't speak a single word of the Queen's. They've got less of a command of the English language than a pissed Geordie. No wonder he feels lonely and depressed when he's at college. At least if he goes online, he can talk to someone who can actually read and write the English language. Christ, what do you want him to do? Oh, well, and that's it. That's it. What a load of shite. So, I hope you enjoyed that. It's great, isn't it? The mask is off. That is, what have we been telling you is going to happen? Wrong think. Thought crimes. Police knocking on people's door after the robots have found out where they live. We've come to have a cup of tea and talk to you about your thinking. The literal definition of a thought crime. In the UK, it is illegal to disagree with the state. And as I said, the people who now call themselves tolerant and progressive, they are the anti-progressives. If they were alive 500 years ago, these would be the type of people who'd go around like Isaac Newton's house and cave his head in with a brick. Orthodoxy, pushed by the state, is all you're allowed to think, and they're all right to put their leaflets out because their leaflets have the right opinions on them. But you're not allowed to put your leaflets out because your leaflets have the wrong opinions on them. All right? And you're not allowed to think wrong, or else you get a visit. What a load of bollocks. So to sum up, well, let's get rid of this drivel. To sum up, don't comply. Make the life difficult for them. If a copper knocks on your door and says, I just want to come in for a chat, yeah, say, and I want a solid gold toilet. Neither of us is going to get what we want today, are we? Shrumph. See you later. These people are awful. I will not comply with deeply immoral, authoritarian statists who want to make disagreeing illegal. All right? I realise this is slightly hypocritical because I'm in a country where you can't get arrested for being slightly impolite on Twitter, but we are where we are. I'm not advocating breaking the law, but I am advocating being as unhelpful as possible. And one good reference, which I think everybody should read because there's a lot of important stuff on there related to the sliver of civil liberties that you still have in the UK, is the Fair Cop website by Harry Miller. In fact, I'll put it on. There we go. I'm sure all my viewers are aware of Harry Miller because you probably watch the Lotus Eaters, but yeah, check his website out. A lot of important stuff on there, telling you exactly what steps you should go through if you happen to get a knock on the door for politely disagreeing with woke authoritarian scumbags. So go and have a read. All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's me for the day. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good weekend. I'll see you for a live stream tomorrow, I think, or Sunday. One of the two. I'll pick. All right. Take it easy. Have a good one. See you soon. Cheers.